Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. 70 plus points in each of the last 3 game weeks, despite losing players like Mitrovic and now Reece James. Blank Game Week 12 is less than a week away. My bench is completely falling apart. I have flags all over the place. The logical thing to do could be to work on those problems, but I'm actually not going to do that. Instead of worrying about the single best premium attacker for the long run, Salah, KDB, or Son, I'm using them all, and Foden. That's how I designed the wildcard, with flexibility to rotate between high-ceiling attackers from Game Week 8 all the way into the World Cup. I've been using this pivoting strategy as a way to increase the uniqueness of my team while making up ground. There are 4 components to this plan. One is ownership, fixtures, form, and budgeting. Ownership means attacking the template with a premium differential Foden, less than 10% ownership, against 45% De Bruyne and 33% Salah. Foden became the highest scoring midfielder in FPL, whose ownership is now doubled. So now I'm looking at Son, who's owned by just one manager in the Elite 64. And to be more accurate in my predictions, I'm considering the fixtures, using our fixture cheat sheet to identify favorable matchups for my player. Teams have been targeting Alexander-Arnold, which is the side that Foden plays on, but with Trent out injured, Joe Gomez could come in, or James Milner, and we might see fewer gaps in behind for Foden to exploit. Of course, we're talking about Manchester City, so Foden can score Game Week 11, but I guarantee that he can't score Game Week 12 because he has off. Son plays Everton at home Game Week 11, then Manchester United's high line. Their defenders aren't the quickest, and De Gea doesn't like to come off his line. And the third component to this pivot strategy is form. Predictive form. Son suffered a lot in the beginning of the season, and it actually fired him up to prove himself. He was unstoppable in the Champions League midweek. If you haven't seen it, check out his second goal. Now, is Son about to enter a good run of form? And the fourth key is budgeting. Foden out for Son is only possible because Foden's price went up twice, and now I'm able to cash out a profit. Everything came down to that 0.1 million, and now that it worked out, it actually gives me more incentive to continue with this unique plan, rotating the big hitters. So let's see it in action. Here's how I'm managing funds with a pivot idea for the next 3 or 4 game weeks. Son in for Foden leaves 0.0 in the bank. Let's say Reece James is out for a while. I actually have a 0.1 buffer on him, and I can let him drop in price without affecting my team value. If I sell him next week, Game Week 12, without a hit, I can use the extra funds to bring in Salah Game Week 13 or Game Week 14 for Forest and Leeds. It doesn't mean I'm going to. I planned the budgeting, so I have that option. At that stage, with Salah, I might have around 0.4, 0.5 million in the bank. I can then pivot between Salah, KDB, Son, or Madison, Foden without worrying about price changes. Budgeting and team value strategy doesn't mean to always buy players that are rising in price and sell them if they're falling. For example, I'm actually keeping Mitrovic through 2 price drops because I'm confident in his ability to match or outscore other players in his price range over the next 5 game weeks. Now, I felt the opposite about Salah and Digne, which is why I sold them for Foden and Reece James, resulting in a 0.5 million swing in team value. Since the deadline's on Friday, I'm going to quickly run through the standout players from Game Week 10 and the top picks for Game Week 11. So here we go. 73 points, Game Week 10. My team is lit up like a Christmas tree with all these flags, but it's actually worse because Nico Williams might have lost his starting spot to Serge Aurier. Cancelo, 18 points, man of the match, with a goal, assist, clean sheet, maximum bonus. Cancelo is the highest scoring defender in FPL, 4th highest scorer in the entire game, and no other defender makes the top 10. Foden, 11 points. He became the top scoring midfielder with a goal, assist, 2 bonus. Now, I just checked my notes, and he suffered a bad tackle in the 19th minute when he set up Cancelo's goal. Foden was actually subbed off in the 57th minute, maybe as a precaution, then he went straight to the physios on the bench. Now looking back, I was actually sweating after that game because I thought he was going to get flagged for an injury, which would have prevented his price from rising once again, ruining all my plans. Now, Guardiola mentioned that Foden had some problems. The good news is he came on as a sub in the Champions League. Haaland, 12 points captain, 20 goals for the season. We're only in October. I don't need to say anything else about Haaland. Martinelli, 12 points. As mentioned on the previous video, teams had been targeting the space behind Alexander-Arnold, and it took Martinelli less than 60 seconds to exploit that weakness. When Trent committed to the player with the ball, he was unaware of that overlapping run. It was an easy finish for Martinelli. Kane, 7 points. He has now scored in each of his last 4 league games, and he added a goal and an assist to Son in Europe. Tottenham were devastating in their transition attacks, and they play Everton at home next. The only team Kane has scored more goals against is Leicester. Saturday is going to mark Kane's 400th appearance for Spurs, which means 4 returns in FPL, a hat trick, and 1 assist to Son. Madison, 1 point. Back-to-back yellow cards mean he's now on 4 yellows for the season, and 1 more game week 11, and he will miss blank game week 12 when I need him against Leeds. What else? Trippier is a beast. Justin, I suggested Castagna over him in the comments, and I'm glad it worked out for everyone else, not so much for my team. Now the bench, Nico Williams, he was subbed off at halftime in the previous game, so I should have reduced that risk by swapping the bench order. 5 points difference for my team, and I'm sorry to anyone who did the same. Now, those were the performances, so what's the plan for game week 11? Transfers out, Foden, transfers in, Son. I'm tempted to captain Kane at home versus Everton, but my team's already so unique, and now I'm using Son as a new differential. I don't need to risk even more with a captaincy. I've made that mistake before. I'm still deciding, and I always post my final team and captain on the blog at upper90studios.com. Now here's my game week 11 watch list. I'm going to keep an eye on Kepa for now, because I'm not super happy with Pope. The watch list is thin on defenders. I consider 3.9 million Wolves defender Totti, but Nathan Collins will return from suspension in time for blank game week 12. Foden and Saka are top picks. Just keep in mind that they have off game week 12. Trossard and Welbeck face off against the shaky Brentford defense that shipped in 5 goals against Newcastle. Welbeck was closest to scoring for Brighton, but I'm hesitant because he doesn't have the best injury record, and they actually failed to score against Spurs last time out. Salah, he was stuck out on the wing against Arsenal. He had 3 attackers in front of him. Then a few days later, Salah breaks the record for the quickest hat trick in Champions League history, and he did it off the bench, which is just incredible. And that's why I'm including Salah in my future pivot plan. Bowen, I thought West Ham were a bit fortunate with some of the goals and the refereeing decisions, but if they score, Bowen is likely to be involved. Iwobi has been playing at a higher level all season, and he makes the watch list. 1 goal and 3 assists in his last 5 games. 5.5 million. Everton attackers have favorable fixtures from game week 12 all the way into the World Cup. Mount played just 45 minutes in Europe, and he was still man of the match. The injury to Reece James, that is a factor because they have been combining well. So that's pretty much it. Son this week for my team, and this whole video has been an exercise in how to justify selling the top scoring midfielder in the game. So experiment with different ideas, and over time, the results will reward you. Please consider liking this video, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Your support gives me more motivation to create new videos in the future. And don't forget the deadline is on Friday. Thank you for all the positive comments, and I wish you big green arrows game week 11. So that's going to be a wrap for today. Don't forget to subscribe to our email list and get your free fixture difficulty cheat sheet. Click the fantasy tab at upper90studios.com. Thanks for watching. See you soon.